professionals, our duty and the pleasure that we have as far as working with our clients is we have this unique opportunity and time to really accelerate our value. And I think that's what we want to talk about. Today, it's really about, a lot around humanity. Like we've got kids running around, dogs running around, cats running around. So I think we have all gotten the chance to be a lot more authentic and certainly a lot more human than perhaps we've had with previously. So we're going to talk today about the Client Cares Action Plan. We've all talked about CARES, the CARES Act that's out there. And what Mark and I have come up with is that the time that we're living right now is all about collaboration. It's about creating action, not getting stuck, and not helping helping our clients get unstuck, providing an abundance of resources, being engaging, and helping our clients create engagement with their people, and of course, and always being supportive. So it's a 30-minute, it's a conversation. We've got the chat room function. You can ask us some questions. We just have a couple of slides, and we're just going to kind of talk to you about what we've been doing. These past few weeks, we've had the opportunity to actually talk to a lot of clients and professionals. We've been talking to them about what are they doing with their organizations? What are they doing with their clients? And we're going to share some of those. We're going to be the broker of good ideas for you to share with your teams. Because the stuff that we're going to do right now is, while the currency of COVID is the trust that you build, these are principles that you're going to be able to take and really fortify all your relationships going forward. So the first thing that we're going to say is as a best practice is to lean in. We've heard some of our professional services organizations, both accounting firms and law firms and financial services firms, saying, you know what, I don't want to bother from our perspective is exactly the wrong message, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Basically just.
Okay. Mark, are you unmuting or muting?
No, it's good.
Okay, good. So what we're saying is it's time for us to lean in on your clients, right? That you're going to be able to help them with a variety of different things. As we said, we want to be the broker of good ideas. That's what you all are going to be. You're talking to more people than you've ever spoken to in the last 3 weeks, all right? You're learning new ideas, you're learning new approaches, you're hearing things about what leaders are doing as far as communication. What are they doing to engage their people? What are they doing to make sure that their people feel connected? Those things are what we can bring to our clients, right? Share those things. It is about resolve and resiliency right now, right? Offer to provide your heart as well as your mind to them. Mark and I talk about 3 phases of working with a client, and it is share of mind, share of, and the share of heart are really important pieces, because without those 2, you're never going to get a share of wallet. So really what we're doing right now is leaning in on your clients. So when you're talking to the people that you might be leading, don't lean back, lean in. And don't worry about being perceived that the client has too much. They do have a lot going on, right? That is a given. Our job is to help them kind of distill insights based on all the information that's coming their way. So part of what we have to do is also share simple direction that focuses in on the basics, all right? We know the basics right now are survival for so many of our clients. Okay, we have to help them we have to bring all the resources that we bring with our firms to help them with that, all right? We will benefit them by being persistent about checking in with them, right? We can discuss ways to increase their effectiveness with their people and their human capital right now. The thing that we can provide, and we see so much of this right now, is there is an abundance of information that people are getting emailed through email campaigns. Distilling that information and offering to do that and providing simple direction to your clients will make it memorable. one of the things that, we're committed to, Mark and I are committed to in this process, is to make sure that at the back end, when we get to June and July, our clients say to us, thank you. You were indispensable in helping us get to this place. That's what you want to be. Because otherwise, think about it. If you weren't seen as that kind of asset, will they continue investing in you as a professional service provider in the future? So those are some of those moments that we have to really start to talk about and talk with our people about. The next thing is be very clear. And this is another thing that we kind of learned in the front end and had to adjust on. In the beginning, Mark and I were calling our clients and saying, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? Well, that's not really helpful. What we need to tell them is, this is what we can do to help you. We can help you engage your leadership team. We can help you with analyzing your business costs. We can help you with making sure your human resources person is connected with other HR people. Be very clear about what you can bring to the table. Just saying to your client, let me know how I can help. They're overwhelmed. They don't know. They're in chaos and in crisis. They're trying to figure out how they're going to keep the revenues rolling so they can continue payroll down the road in June and July. Saying to them, let me know how I can help is not enough. We can say, here's how we can help. And that is one thing that we're going to encourage you to do next week, is that you sit down and you say, here are the 3 things that I can do for each one of my clients. And you can talk to your team about that and say, what are those 3 things? Send them an email. Here's where I can help. How do you want to engage me? All right, I'm on your team. So I think that's an important piece. Another piece that we've heard from some professional services providers that they're doing a great job, and this does not mean that they necessarily have to have the knowledge on how to do it, is their willingness and their courage to step into this. They are helping the executives and the leadership of their businesses help to establish and clarify a temporary rallying cry. Okay, it may be, we have to have a war on cash flow. It may be we have to have complete focus on employee retention. Whatever those things are, help your clients crystallize that rallying cry for the next 30 to 60 days. You help them with that, then that gives you a seat at the planning table. That also gives you unmatched insight that you've never had. And that is one of the great successes that are going to come from this for professionals, is you are now invited in to the table to really build strategy and planning for the future. And I think this is that opportunity that you can do this. I think the other thing that we're talking about, and we've seen it with some clients, is that where you can bring additional resources through your network, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the with Mark's section, is bring these resources to them. Bring community to your client. And you've got a robust community of professionals that you work with. This is the time to rally those. So with that, Mark, I'm going to flip it back to you and see if you, and if you wouldn't mind sharing some of the value creation that we were talking about.
Yes, Judy, thank you. One of the things that, that I want to do with the information that we're going to share with you in a second is this idea of how we're going to be able to lean in and be able to do something that maybe you haven't thought of before. So let me get, Judy, if you could just take a moment. I'm just going to pull up that one document. So if you want to just talk for just a minute, and I'll get that. So,
many of you know that we talk a lot about value creation. Again, we've had the opportunity recently to we've been still doing client interviews for some of our clients, and we've had the chance to talk to them about kind of in the time of COVID, how do you define value? And, I can speak to the interviews that I've done, and it has been very clear that what they've said is, help me figure out how to mitigate the risk that we're facing. how to leverage and keep those employees that I want to keep for the future. And make sure that you are helping to distill the information that is so very confusing to me, right? You know, again, accounting firms, law firms, financial services firms are all sending, and they're being very diligent about sending out information as things are evolving. From a client's perspective, it's overwhelming because they don't understand compliance. They don't necessarily understand the tax implications. This is where we have to kind of insert ourselves in making sure that we can help them understand what the next move is. So Mark, do you have that slide up?
Yes, I do. So
Okay.
one of the things that I wanted to share with you is on the visual that's in front of you, that's on the screen, is this is really a great philosophy to keep for yourself. And again, we'll provide this information as far as to share with your contemporaries and colleagues within your firms, is if you think about value creation, and whether you're a managing director, a practice leader, or a sole proprietor running your own consulting firm, there's this idea of education, and that to me is a subject matter expert. But as you move into the center and you start talking about anticipation, offering possibilities. So again, think about all the things that you're trying to interpret depending upon your area of discipline that you represent that's on this webinar. I get that it's hard enough to know your own profession, but think about within the firms you work for and the assets you have, how do I move from the red, which is educate my clients, to make me better, more valuable, and provide peace of mind? I think we sell outputs. We don't sell billable hours, right? We really sell outputs. And whether that, which I'll share with you on the next page, it is the human to human feeling of feeling as if you are making me better as a human being and as a company with my people. You're able to create value that can be delivered upon, whether you do it, whether other advisors in your network do it, whether it's centers of influence within your network that aren't professional advisors that do it. So I want to share with you something that is really, really helpful. We do a workshop on value creation. And if you look at these 6 areas that are on the screen, this is where we challenge each service provider in each cohort group that we train to think about not just the obvious things you do in risk avoidance or cost avoidance that you do, whether you're an accountant or a lawyer or a financial advisor, but think about the other areas. Think about, for all of you that work with privately held businesses, the number of challenges with business interruption, with risk management, with doing a full risk management assessment of your client's business, whether you work with someone in property and casualty, whether you work with someone on the banking side to do some stress tests, whatever. It's really about doing a full body scan, excuse my analogy, of the entire client that we are trying to approach. So this holistic view may seem a little daunting, but believe me, this is how you as your own business owners think about how you get impacted by others that you utilize and how you can utilize others to make this difference. So again, whether it is leveraging one of your other clients and what they're doing on remote workplace with infrastructure that you found has been working or you've done it, or whether it's some other areas that you've learned about, share those best practices, lean in and help clients see what they're not going to see until maybe later. And if you can avoid something with them because of an experience you had with another client, you need to be the enlightener. And this is the moment that to shine the light on not just you as an expert in your respective field, but you as an indispensable partner through the ecosystem of your clients that you represent, your firm's clients that they have, and your broader business network across all areas of running an operation in a business. So I think That's fairly self-explanatory. I'd also like, Judy, do you want to go into the pack now, or do you want to do?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you know? You were talking about that broader ecosystem, and we do talk about this, you know, and the networks that we have. We now have the opportunity to really leverage these networks at a level that really is very different. All right, so I'll give you an example of a privately held business that is a client of ours. Fifth, you know, it's a privately held fifth generation organization, right? And they have about 150 employees. They are overwhelmed. All right, they're overwhelmed with information. Their accountant was talking to them. Their lawyer was talking to them. Their banker was talking to them. Their insurance broker was talking to them. And in the conversation I was having with the executives, I said, let's bring them together. You don't need to have these individual conversations. So the thing and we did, it was an amazing set of conversations. They were able to plow through the small business lending opportunities. They were able to plow through some issues that they had with employees and unemployment. And they were able to start to talk about business continuity at a different level. That group of professionals I've had conversations with subsequently, they are now talking about other clients that they can bring each other to the table. So the opportunity is presented today and this month, really for all of us, is to be the person that is coalescing this group of professionals. So Mark, maybe you throw that professional advisory piece up.
It's up now. So
okay.
One of the things that we're going to send out to everybody, whether they're able to make the webinar or just folks that registered and didn't, this is something that I hope you can share with the people that work with you in your firm. So Judy and I developed a couple of years ago this idea of a PACT. And so the acronym is a Proactive Advisory Client Team. So let me just share with you, many of you, as you work through your professional commitments, are on boards. Obviously, you serve on nonprofit, for-profit boards. Well, just envision the board from that perspective being this informal, nimble group of the actual advisors that the clients that you serve have, right? So very often, in my opinion, and maybe you might have a different view, business owners don't know what's possible to achieve with their advisors. So until you come up with something, they may not know that I should really get 3 or 4 different folks together to really think about what we could do collectively. And everybody serves their own swim lane. Everybody has their own world of what they take care of. But if you think about some of the synergies that can take place if you go to the owner and say, look, I think it'd be a good idea to sit down with your banker and a couple other folks, depending upon who they trust. Maybe it's an actual strategic planning person they have. Maybe they have an executive coach. Maybe they're part of a Vistage group or a YPO group. So they have some other ways to kind of talk to owners. But you can serve as that mini Vistage or that mini advisory board by enacting and mobilizing this group of professionals. And again, I get it. Not everybody collaborates all in the sandbox all the time, but the majority of the time like this, they're going to do that. And so we're going to send you the entire guide in a fillable PDF. And I would encourage you, without going through the details here, to really use that mindset separate to everything else you have to do, just getting that handled just with what you specialize in, but it's a great best practice. So with that, Judy, I'll turn it back over to you for the close.
Yeah, so, I mean, look at how quick 30 minutes goes. We're just about the end, but we don't want to miss the point of what a role of a professional can do as far as focusing on the future. You know, this is really about resolve and resilience. They're dealing with survival right now. Totally understand. It's like Maslow's tier of hierarchy, right? So they're at food and shelter right now. You have to help them see where they have to start to begin to focus in on the future, right? So as professionals, and with this perhaps this collective of collaborative advisors, you can help your clients start to look at what that future could be, what the new norm is, We're all learning new ways to collaborate. We're learning new ways and the importance of technology. We're learning that, you know, that our people can be a lot more flexible than we ever thought they could be. And I think that has been universally a positive that we've heard from people, is that our people have really rallied and they've learned how to adjust and understand that things are not going to be perfect, but they're going to keep trying. All right. So as professionals, you can help them start to evaluate the assets they have, the financial assets, the capital assets, the human capital assets, the strategic marketing assets. Because, you know, I had the pleasure of being on, I don't know if you know Patrick Lencioni, but he's the New York Times bestseller that wrote The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And there was, he called all the consultants that facilitate his materials. And there was 5,000 of us on a call, that we got on a call within 2 hours. And what he said is, what you have to understand, what we all have to understand is, on the back end of this, our clients are either going to be much stronger because they will have had to go through this war, or they're going to be so weak that in all likelihood they're not going to survive. So our job as professionals is to make sure that our clients are stronger. All right. So things, figure out ways that we can help to redefine bold strategic moves for that next new normal. And if you do that, again, you're going to get that seat at the strategy table that perhaps you've never been able to kind of work your way into. And that's the cool thing that can happen out of all of this. So as, you know, I don't know, Mark, if you see any chat, because you've got kind of the chat on your side.
Nothing yet, Judy.
Okay, do you want to unmute everyone and see if there's any questions? Yeah. And then otherwise we can kind of close this down and just with a recap. So see if you could unmute everybody, Mark.
Okay, hold on.
As we learn technology as we're going along here too. Zoom, you know, if anybody has Zoom stock, I'm sure it's really good now.
Can you guys hear me? This is Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie.
Good morning. I just sent you a message to Judy and Mark. I'm not sure if you saw it, but for some reason my camera is making me look like I'm in the witness protection program this morning. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But anyway, thank you for getting us all together. It's just great to hear from you guys, and I think feel connected that we're really all experiencing the same thing, and that's really valuable. So thank you for stepping out and organizing this.
Oh, Jean, thank you. You know what? That's the whole philosophy of the time to rise, right? All of us do this together. And I think that, you know, as we approach the back end of this year and we all say, wow, what we have been through and what we learned is going to be, we're all going to be better professionals together. So thank you for that. And thank you for being part of this morning. So we appreciate it. Is there any other questions, ideas, thoughts, things that you've seen people do or clients have done to help in this kind of world the new world that we're living in?
Judy, it's Dan. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, so very good advice on getting everybody together as far as working with clients. The most success that we've had or that I've had is with some of my clients that have had their accountants, their attorneys, and their bankers on the phone. There's just so much information coming in from so many different directions, and there's so many different perspectives to think about when you're looking at the options of trying to get everybody out of this mess or set them up to get the funding they can get. So I think that was a very good piece of advice that you guys gave there, is work with the other professionals. That tends to have been a very, you know, so far from my early on experience in this, that seems to be a very effective way to move forward.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dan. You know, it's interesting, the people that we're talking to and professionals, they are busier now than they've ever been. And so hopefully that's the sign of the times, right? Because they're getting great, their clients are leaning in on them and saying, we need your help. Now we have to make sure that we can leverage that for long-term opportunities for both the client and for our firms. So thank you for that. I think that's great. And now it's the chance where if you've not had relationships with some of these other advisors to your clients, you get the chance to really get to know them. And I think that's really a helpful piece. Anything else out there? Because I know that we're just about at the hour, and I just want to kind of recap a few things that we'd recommend that you start doing next week.
Well, Judy and Mark, I just wanted to say before we wrap up, just a quick thank you. And you know, when I saw the email come through, one of the reasons I wanted to join is I provide an end-to-end solution for accounting firms for marketing and business development. So I'm getting ready to craft my marketing message, and things are very different than what I thought they would be a month ago, obviously. So this has been really helpful in helping me think through that process as I get to a message that I'm comfortable with, that is collaborative and appropriate.
Thank you. We're, you know, and I think that's Mark and our, you know, we believe the philosophy of together we rise, right? So this is, you know, this is our time, and this is our time to really demonstrate that we can do this together. On the back end of this, we can really make a difference. So as you think about next week, and as you think about your teams, here's the thing, kind of like if you're kind of taking mental notes, here's the things that we'd encourage you to do. One, if you've had people that are maybe hesitant or they don't want to, you know, they don't want to infringe upon their clients, tell them now is the time to lean in. Have the courage to be persistent about communicating with your clients, right? Be specific about what you can bring. Just don't say, hey, I'm here to support you. Look at your clients, identify each one of those and say, what are the 3 things that we can do? What can we do for you during this period of time? The next piece is double down on value, right? Where can you create value? Risk mitigation, profitability analysis, cost reduction. Help them understand very tangibly the value that you can create. All right. The next piece is mobilize a collaborative group of professionals to surround your clients. If you do that, everybody wins. The collective group, including your client, gets better, and they pull out of this sooner. And then finally, have the courage to help them focus on the future. So with that, Mark, anything you want to kind of bring it home from the CEI house party on Friday?
Yes, Judy, thank you. So for the last, 60 seconds here, this is really the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm sorry to say that sometimes the greatest things in the world come from times of distress and unknown, but think about us, most professional advisors are pretty left brain. They're very much into the specifics and the precision of their work. This is the most unprecision time of our lifetime. So I think it's going to teach us about dexterity and flexibility and break down the walls of self-limiting beliefs of what can and can't happen. So to me, look at this separate to, don't look at your 401k and your financial statements, but look to the future.
Don't do that now.
Don't do that now. Look to what you can actually create. And because people ask me, what is your tagline? And I always say, when I work with business owners, it's to perpetuate legacies. And that's really what all of you do. You're perpetuating legacies, whether it's for an exit, whether it's for a next generation. So think about how cool you are in a position to matter most to people's lives and all those employees and their families that rely upon those companies. So wow, it's a really cool time for you to be in positions of authority. So do it with empathy and do it with distinction.
And here's what we promise. We promise to bring the group again together on pretty narrow topics, more learnings that we have. Share what you're hearing so that we can rate, it's the time to rise for all of us. So the more you can share with us, the more we can share with everybody. And with that, my friends, happy Friday. Be safe and be healthy, and we'll hope to talk to you very soon. Take care.